You know, there's a question I've been hearing a lot lately from friends, family, and even folks I just met. How do I make sure I'm still thriving, not just surviving, in my 70s, 80s, or even 90s? Maybe you've asked yourself that, too. After all, hitting 60 isn't an ending. It's a brand new chapter. And here's the good news. Science says there are simple, everyday habits that can add decades to your life, and life to those decades. Know what you might be thinking. But where do I even start? Don't worry, we're not talking about extreme diets or running marathons. These are practical, doable steps backed by research and real people just like you. In fact, today we're diving into the first 3 habits that can help you feel stronger, sharper, and more vibrant today, while setting you up to enjoy every birthday candle for years to come. Let's start with something we all know is important, but often overlooked as we get older: movement. And no, I don't mean training for the get older. Olympics, one of the most eye-opening studies I've seen, followed thousands of adults over 60 for decades. The result? Those who moved their bodies regularly, even just a little, were 40% more likely to live into their 90s than those who stay sedentary. But here's the key. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. Think of it like watering a plant. Little bit every day keeps it thriving. Might be that's a daily walk around the neighborhood, tending to your garden, or even dancing to your favorite oldies. In the living room, my neighbor, Mata, started with 5 minutes of gentle stretching every morning. Now, at 82, she's leading water aerobics at the community pool. The point is, find what feels good and stick with it. Your joints, heart, and mood will thank you. Now, let's talk about something we all love. Food, but not just any food. Brain and body-loving food. You've probably heard the saying, are what you eat, and science proves it's never been truer as we age. Researchers at Harvard found that adults over 60 who focused on nutrient-rich meal, think colorful veggies, fatty fish like salmon, nuts, and whole grains, had a 30% lower risk of chronic diseases and sharper memories well into their 80s. But let's keep this simple. You don't need to overhaul your pantry overnight. Start by adding 1 color to your plate each day. Maybe toss some spinach into your scrambled eggs. Snack on blueberries instead of chips, or swap white bread for a hearty whole grain slice. My friend Jim swears by his rainbow rule. If his lunch isn't at least 3 different colors, he adds a handful of cherry tomatoes or grated carrots. Small tweaks, big rewards. And here's a habit that might surprise you: staying connected. Not just to Wi-Fi, but to people. A groundbreaking study from the University of California found that seniors with strong social ties had a 50% higher chance of living into their 90s compared to those who felt lonely. Why? Laughing with friends, sharing stories, even having a good debate. It all reduces stress, keeps your mind active, and gives you a reason to get out of bed in the morning. Now, I get it. Life changes. Might be your circle isn't as big as it once was. But connection doesn't require a crowd. It could be a weekly phone call with your grandkids, joining a book club at the library, or even volunteering at a local school. My cousin, Ed, lost his wife a few years back and felt adrift until he hears back. And felt adrift, started teaching woodworking at the community center. Now, at 78, he's got a waiting list for his classes and a whole new group of friends. So far, we've covered 3 powerful habits: moving your body in ways that bring you joy, nourishing yourself with colorful, wholesome foods, and investing in those heartwarming connections with others. But here's the thing, none of these require perfection. Miss a walk one day? No problem. Ate a slice of cake at your granddaughter's birthday. Enjoy every bite. This isn't about rigid rules. It's about building a lifestyle that feels good and does good for your long-term health. And guess what? We're just getting, because the next habits we'll explore are all about protecting what matters most: your mind, your resilience, and that spark of joy that makes life worth living. But for now, I'd love to hear from you. Adding more movement or color to your meals, or might be reconnected with an old friend recently. Share your stories in the comments below. I read every single one. Until next time, remember this: every small step you take today is a gift to your future self. Here's to making those steps count. You know, one of the most beautiful things about getting older is realizing just how much wisdom we've gathered over the years. But here's the secret no one tells you: that wisdom needs a strong, well-rested brain to shine. And that brings me to our next habit. Something so simple, yet so powerful, it can literally reshape your health overnight. I'm talking about sleep. Now, I can almost hear some of you saying, "Sleep? At my age, good luck with that." Trust me, I get it. Might be you're waking up at 3 and for no reason, or you're not feeling as rested as you used to. But here's what the science says. A study from the National Institute on Aging found that adults over 60 who prioritize 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night have a significantly lower risk of heart disease, memory decline, and even depression. And get this, they also tend to live longer. But here's the twist: it's not just about quantity. Think of sleep like a nightly tune-up for your body. To make those hours count, try winding down with a calming routine. Maybe it's reading a book, not on a screen, sipping caffeine-free herbal tea, or listening to soft music. My friend Louise swears by her 10-minute rule. No news, no chores, no stressful conversations in the last hour before bed. She says it's like giving her brain a warm bath, and at 76, she's still hitting the golf course 3 times a week. Now, let's tackle something we all face but rarely talk about: stress. Now, a little stress is normal. It's part of life. But when it becomes chronic, it's like leaving your car engine running 24/7. Researchers at Stanford found that long-term stress accelerates aging at the cellular level, increasing the risk of everything from high blood pressure to a weakened immune system. But here's the good news: you don't have to eliminate stress, just manage it better. How? Start small. Take 5 minutes each morning to sit quietly, breathe deeply, and set a positive intention for the day. Or try green therapy, spending time in nature, even if it's just sitting on a park bench or tending to houseplants. Brother-in-law Frank picked up woodworking after he retired. He says the focus it takes to sand a piece of oak or carve a detail helps him forget any worries. It's like meditation with sawdust. He laughs. And here's a pro tip: reframe how you see challenges. Instead of thinking, "This is too hard," try, "I've handled tough things before. I can do this." That shift alone can lower stress hormones and boost confidence. Remember, resilience isn't about avoiding storms. It's about learning to dance in the rain. So far, we've added 2 more tools to your longevity toolkit: honoring your sleep and taming that sneaky stress. But here's what I want you to take away. These aren't chores. They're acts of self-care. Like that feeling when you sink into a warm bath or finally fix that creaky door hinge that's been bothering you for months. It's about giving yourself the same kindness you've given others your whole life. And guess what? We've still got a couple more habits to explore. Simple, everyday choices that can protect your sharp mind and keep your body thriving for decades. But for now, I'd love to hear how you're doing. Have you found a bedtime routine that works? Or discovered a hobby that melts stress away? Drop a comment below. Your story might inspire someone else to take that first step. Here's to restful nights, peaceful days, and all the small victories in between. Keep shining. I'll see you soon. Oh no. Looking through these old photos reminds me of something my grandmother used to say. Growing old is a privilege, but growing old well, that's an art, and like any art, it takes a little practice, a lot of heart, and the right tools. We've already covered 5 powerful habits to help you thrive in this chapter of life. But let's round out our list with 2 final gems, habits that protect your sharp mind and keep your body resilient for the long haul. First up, challenging your brain. Now, this isn't about cramming for a test or memorizing the dictionary. It's about keeping that brilliant mind of yours curious and engaged. A landmark study from the Rush Alzheimer's Disease Center found that seniors who regularly stimulated their brains through puzzles, reading, or even learning new skills had a 47% lower risk of dementia compared to those who didn't. But here's the fun part. Challenging your brain doesn't have to feel like work. It could be as simple as swapping your morning crossword for a Sudoku, taking a cooking class to master a new cuisine, or even teaching yourself to play Happy Birthday on the harmonica. My Aunt Clara took up painting at 70. Watercolors, she called them. And now, at 88, her work's been featured in a local gallery. She says, mixing colors feels like giving her neurons a playground. So, whether it's learning a few phrases in Spanish, or finally figuring out how to use that tablet your grandkids gave you, keep your brain guessing. It'll tank you with clarity and creativity for years to come. Now, let's talk about a habit that's easy to put off, but impossible to replace. Preventive health care. I know. Doctor's appointments aren't exactly anyone's idea of a good time. But here's the truth. Catching small issues early can literally save your life. Researchers at Johns Hopkins found that seniors who stayed up to date on screenings, like blood pressure checks, mammograms, or colonoscopy, had a 50% higher chance of living into their 90s without major health setbacks. But let's make this practical. Start by partnering with your doctor to create a personalized plan. Maybe that means scheduling your annual flu shot, monitoring your vitamin D levels, or finally addressing that nagging knee pain. And don't forget about your eyes and ears. Simple fixes like updating your glasses, prescription, or treating hearing loss can drastically improve your quality of life. My buddy, Ray, avoided his checkups for years until a routine blood test caught his diabetes early. Now, at 75, he's off medication and hiking trails he thought he'd never see again. As he puts it, an hour at the clinic bought me a decade of adventures. So, let's take a step back and look at the full picture. We've talked about moving your body, nourishing yourself with colorful foods, staying connected to loved ones, prioritizing restful sleep, managing stress, challenging your mind, and staying proactive with your health. That's quite a list. But here's the beautiful thing. None of these habits require perfection. They're not about adding more to your plate. They're about enhancing the life you already have. Think of it like tending a garden. You don't need to replant everything overnight. Just water a few seeds, pull a weed here and there, and let the sunshine do the rest. Might be today you take a walk under the trees, tomorrow you try a new recipe, and next week you call an old friend you've been missing. Every small choice adds up, and if you're feeling overwhelmed, remember this: you've already survived 100% of your hardest days. You've got the strength, wisdom, and grit to make these years your best ones yet. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Which of these habits resonated most? Have you discovered a new hobby that keeps your mind sharp? Or maybe you've got a tip for making doctor's visits less daunting? Share your thoughts in the comments. We're all here to learn from each other. And if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to make sure you don't miss our future chats about living joyfully, healthily, and boldly, no matter your age. Thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, aging isn't about counting the years. It's about making the years count. Here's to your health, your happiness, and the incredible journey ahead.